Right now, if it gets dark, you flip a switch. If you're cold, you turn on a heater. If a wild animal comes near you at night, you probably don't think about it because you're safe inside four walls. But 2 million years ago, none of that existed. No fire, no light, no warmth, no safety. Just you, the dark, and everything out there that wanted to eat you. So what did humans actually do before fire existed? How did they survive the night? How did they eat? How did they stay warm? In this video, we're going deep into the millions of years before fire, the coldest, darkest, and most dangerous chapter of human history. Number 1. The timeline nobody talks about. They think early humans discovered fire almost right away. That's not true. Not even close. The oldest proof we have of humans actually controlling fire, not just seeing wildfires, but making and keeping fire on purpose, comes from a cave in South Africa called Wonderwork Cave. That fire evidence is about 1 million years old. But our ancestors go back much, much further than that. Some early humans and human-like ancestors existed over 3 million years ago. That means for at least 2 million years, maybe longer, early humans lived completely without fire. 2 million years is such a long time that it's almost impossible to imagine. If every block in that stack was 1 year, the pile would be taller than a mountain. And for that entire time, there were no campfires, no torches, no cooking, no light after sunset. Just early humans doing whatever they could to survive one dark night after another. Number 2, the night was the real enemy. Let's talk about the biggest problem first, the night itself. Today, night is just night. Maybe a little boring, maybe good for sleeping. Back then, night was the most dangerous part of the entire day. Without fire, there was no light to see predators coming, and predators back then were terrifying. Early humans shared the African landscape with saber-toothed cats, giant hyenas, and large lions, many of them bigger and more dangerous than the animals we know today. These animals could see in the dark far better than humans could. Humans have terrible night vision compared to most predators. So when the sun went down, early humans were basically blind and surrounded by animals that weren't. This meant one very important thing. Nighttime activity had to almost completely stop. Without fire to push back the darkness, there was no working at night, no traveling at night, no exploring at night. The moment the sun disappeared, the smartest thing to do was find shelter and freeze in place. Many researchers believe early humans slept in trees, similar to how chimpanzees and gorillas do today, because height meant safety from ground predators. Sleeping in a tree isn't comfortable, but it's a lot better than sleeping on the ground next to a hungry lion. Some early human ancestors likely built simple nests out of branches and leaves, high above the ground, the same way great apes do. Every single night for 2 million years, this cycle repeated. Sunset, fear, hiding, waiting for morning. Number 3, eating without cooking. Now let's talk about food, because this is where things get genuinely wild. And without cooking, everything you eat is raw. It takes an enormous amount of chewing to break down. Raw plants are often tough too, full of fiber that's hard for the body to digest. Scientists estimate that early humans and their ancestors may have spent up to 5 or 6 hours a day just chewing food. 5 or 6 hours, that's most of a modern school day spent only on chewing. To handle all that raw, tough food, early human ancestors needed serious jaw power. Some early hominins, like a group called Paranthropus, had massive jaw muscles and huge back teeth built specifically for grinding down tough, raw plants. Their skulls even had a bony ridge on top, just to anchor those enormous chewing muscles. Basically, without fire to soften food, evolution built bigger jaws and stronger teeth instead. But chewing wasn't the only problem. Digesting raw food is much harder on the body than digesting cooked food. Cooking breaks down tough fibers and kills off harmful bacteria before food even enters your mouth. Without cooking, early humans needed longer digestive systems and bigger guts to process all that raw material. Scientists call this trade-off the expensive tissue hypothesis. Basically, a bigger gut needs a huge amount of energy to run, and there's only so much energy available in a body. If a huge amount goes to digestion, there's less left over for other things. One of those other things is the brain. Brains are incredibly expensive to run, energy-wise, so before fire, with big raw food digesting guts eating up most of the body's energy, brains stayed relatively small. This is one of the biggest reasons scientists believe cooking food later on helped human brains grow larger. Before fire, the body simply had to survive on raw power alone. Big jaws, big guts. Lots of chewing. Number 4, getting food without cooking it. So how did early humans even get food in the first place? Two main strategies: gathering and scavenging. Gathering meant collecting fruits, roots, seeds, nuts, and leaves. Roots were especially important because they store energy underground, safe from the dry season above. But digging up roots without metal tools is hard work. Early humans likely used simple, sharpened sticks to dig. Scavenging meant something a little more brutal, finding animals that were already dead, killed by predators, and taking whatever meat was left. This sounds gross today, but it was an incredibly smart survival strategy. Early humans weren't fast enough or strong enough to hunt large animals directly, not yet. So instead, they waited. They watched. When a lion or hyena finished eating, humans moved in for the leftovers. This required serious teamwork because scavenging near dangerous predators is extremely risky. Around 2.6 million years ago, early humans started making some of the first stone tools ever recorded. Simple, sharp-edged rocks used for cutting and cracking bones. These tools let humans cut meat off bones quickly and crack bones open to reach the nutritious marrow hidden inside. Marrow, the soft material inside bones, was actually a hugely important food source, packed with fat and calories. Other animals couldn't easily access marrow, but with a simple stone tool, early humans could crack it open in seconds. This gave early humans an advantage that didn't need fire at all, just a sharp rock, teamwork, and patience. Number 5. Staying warm with no fire. Now let's talk about something we don't think about enough: staying warm. Today, if it's cold, you put on a jacket or turn up the heat. Early humans had neither of those options. So how did they survive cold nights, especially in higher, cooler parts of Africa? The first answer is simple: body hair. Early human ancestors were covered in far more body hair than modern humans, which provided natural insulation. The second answer is huddling. Sleeping in close groups shares body heat far more effectively than sleeping alone. This is likely one of the reasons early humans were such deeply social creatures from the very beginning. Survival depended on staying close to others. The third answer is shelter. Caves, rock overhangs, and thick tree cover all blocked wind and held in a little bit of warmth. None of this was as effective as fire eventually became. Cold nights still killed weaker or younger individuals. But that discovery was still a long way off. For now, warmth meant fur, friends, and finding shelter before the sun went down. This is part of why the eventual discovery of fire was such a massive turning point. It solved a problem that had limited human survival for millions of years. Number 6. Talking without fire to gather around. Here's something interesting historians and scientists still debate. How did early humans bond and communicate before fire existed? Later on, once fire existed, campfires became gathering points, places where groups told stories, passed down knowledge, and built trust. But before fire, there was no glowing center to gather around at night. So bonding likely happened differently. During the daytime, while foraging, walking, or resting in groups, grooming, similar to what chimpanzees do today, was probably a major bonding activity, picking through each other's fur, removing bugs and dirt. This wasn't just about hygiene. It built trust, reduced stress, and strengthened group relationships. Early humans also likely used basic calls, gestures, and facial expressions to communicate danger, food locations, and social status. Full spoken language as we know it probably developed much later. But the foundations, cooperation, warning signals, group decision-making were already forming. Without a fire to gather around, bonding had to happen in motion, in daylight, spread across the hours when it was actually safe to be active. Number 7. Climate, danger, and constant movement. Life before fire wasn't just about avoiding predators and finding food. It was also about surviving a changing planet. Africa's climate shifted dramatically over millions of years, cycling between wetter periods and long, harsh droughts. During dry periods, food and water became scarce, forcing groups to travel long distances just to survive. Without fire, there was no way to purify unclean water or extend the usable hours of the day to search further. This meant early humans had to be constantly aware of their surroundings, always ready to move toward better conditions. Groups that failed to move in time or misjudged the risk of predators along the way simply didn't survive. This constant pressure from climate, from predators, from food scarcity, shaped nearly everything about how early humans lived, moved, and cooperated. Every single decision, when to move, when to rest, when to gather, when to hide, mattered enormously without fire to fall back on. Number 8. The turning point was coming. For nearly 2 million years, this was life. Cold nights, raw food, constant danger, endless movement. But somewhere, deep in that timeline, something was about to change forever. Somewhere around 1 million years ago, in a cave in what's now South Africa, something extraordinary happened. A human ancestor learned to keep a fire burning on purpose. That single moment would eventually change everything. How humans slept, how humans ate, how human brains grew, and how humans spread across the entire planet. But that's a story for another video. So, what did ancient humans do before fire? They climbed trees to sleep. They chewed for hours just to eat. They huddled together for warmth. They watched the darkness, waiting for morning. It wasn't easy, it wasn't safe, and it wasn't fast. But it worked, generation after generation, for nearly 2 million years, until one day, someone learned to hold on to a flame. If you had to survive one single night out there, with no fire, no light, and no walls, do you think you'd make it until morning? Let me know what you think.